And then if we let it play, we should see our creepy mice are coming towards us. And in this darkness, you can't tell that they've got a flashlight stuck to the head, which is great. Hello, and welcome to another episode of You Pick the Assets and I Make the Video Game. We are going to go for at least one more. Quite a few of you did suggest some assets, and for a second there, it did look like perennial winner Alaurin was going to win again. Or at least it looked that way to me, but then I realised that his comment wasn't actually a suggestion. He was just expressing disappointment that other people weren't making suggestions, which ironically got joint most likes with CatKO5. Don't pay any attention to my YouTube recommendations there. I watched one Penn and Teller video and now YouTube seems to think that's all I want to watch. So I've got the asset here. I've already imported it, although I haven't looked at it yet, so we'll discover what we can do with it together. Alright, so let's get into it. I appear to lack the imagination to think of anything clever to do with it, so to start with at least I'm just going to go with the obvious, and that's make everything dark and give the flashlight to our mice. It seems a bit more likely that our shield and spear carrying mice are going to have a flashlight than a rock monster throwing troll thing. So that's what we're going to do for now, and then maybe inspiration will strike. Let's go into our prefabs for the flashlight and pull it into the scene and see what we've got. Quite a large flashlight actually. We've got an audio source, but we're not going to be doing audio yet, so we won't bother with that for now. And also I haven't got this set up to record in-game audio because I didn't think there'd be any audio, so yeah. And then we have a script, so let's open the script and see what's going on in there. Oh, we have dust particles. Fancy. So it seems we turn it on and off using this switch function here. So let's just quickly create a way we can turn this on and off easily. So we'll give this script an update function and we'll just say if input.getKeyDown keycode.l for light, then switch. So let's just quickly run that and see what our torch looks like. Yeah, doesn't look too bad. And it does indeed have dust particles. Just make it a little bit darker and see how it looks. And our trolls died in the dark with no friends. But I think we're going to need to make it more intense before we actually put it to use. So let's bring in our mouse prefab. He's buried by the grass. So I have to bring him up here. I'm going to have to make that grass shorter. I didn't realise the mice were so buried. Let's go over here to where the path is. Or I could make the mice bigger actually. Probably be a better way to go. And by scaling it that way, it should also have scaled Capsule Collider and everything. Okay, so let's bring our flashlight over to our mouse. Zero that transform. Where are we going to put it? Well, we don't have a helmet yet, but let's put it on his head. These are very talented mice that can balance a torch on their head. As you do. And then if we're just looking here to see what gets enabled, we're not bothered about the sound. Lights.setActive is enabled, so that's just enabling this, which by default enables everything under it. So while we're here, let's just make the spotlight a little bit brighter. Let's try that. And then we will make, we don't need him in the scene anymore. And then we'll make our scene darker. Not too dark, we do need to be able to see our troll. Let's just go for there for now for testing purposes. Just see if we get some points of light wandering towards us now. Here they come. Okay, the lighting's been kind of weird with the terrain. It looks good once they're into the grass. Let's just make a few little changes. So we'll bring our mouse knight back into the scene. If we open up our mouse's armature and we find his head, which should be somewhere at the top of his spine, neck, head, that'll do. And then we're going to move the flashlight to be a child of the head. Nice of Unity to open every single tree in this hierarchy. So once we finish scrolling forever, we want to make the flashlight a child of the head, which is there. So now it will move with the head, which should give us a bit of a nice bobbing and weaving effect as the mouse walks around. And we'll just rotate it ever so slightly downwards so it's shining on the floor. Come back out of there, remove the mouse knight, and we will make our scene just a little bit darker. 0.18. I am going to do something to make it easier to see your own character, the troll, shortly. Just give me a chance. I'm just testing the lighting for now. Oh yeah, this already looks better. It's almost, it's actually kind of creepy seeing them coming towards you like that in the dark. Alright, so that'll do for now. Just imagine they're wearing mining helmets and don't just have a torch stuck to their head. So let's set the intensity back to 1 and we will rotate the directional light, because if you don't know, with the default Unity skybox and the default Unity directional light, that kind of simulates day-night. So if we rotate it, you can see the shadows moving, and then eventually it starts to get darker. That's a little bit too dark, but we'll work on that. We'll go there, because that's kind of, it's dark, but you can still see. And then let's just have a look at our golem's materials. See if we can do something with the golem to make him stand out a little bit more. I was hoping that all the green lines could be illuminated, but it looks like it's just his eyes. Okay, what we'll do is we will cheat ever so slightly to make this work. So we're going to go into our golem, and we're going to add a light. It's going to be a spotlight, and if we can just find him in the darkness, we'll drag this light up here, and we want it to be facing downwards on our golem, 90 degrees. What we're going to do is we're just going to make it ever so slightly illuminate the golem and the area around him, enough to make it easier to see. See, not that much. Actually, it's kind of a cartoony vibe. Quite like that, actually. Let's just see what it looks like when it's playing. See, I actually don't mind that. We got one. It's kind of cool when you see the light dancing around in the middle of the darkness there. So yeah, I think we might go with that. What we'll do actually is we will make our light above the golem green, and then it's like these green veins on his body are actually glowing and what's causing the light. So let's just go into here, make that green. We might have to change the intensity slightly, or we could just drag it a bit more towards the white and less green. Okay, I'm going with that. So it gives us a nice kind of glow around us. It's enough that we can see where we're going. And here come the mice. So what I just want to quickly do now is I'd like to make the camera follow the golem around so we can move around a bit more of the level. We're going to keep facing the same direction, but we're going to follow the movement. So let's just find our scripts folder. We're just going to make another script. Nice and simple. We'll just call camera movement. I'm going to open that up. That reminds me, actually, we don't want the flashlight script on our flashlight that we're actually using. So let's just find our prefabs again. Drag our mouse knight on here. Find our flashlight. This is going to be easy if we just open the prefab. Find our flashlight and remove that and remove that. So we don't need the audio right now anyway. And at the minute, there's no way for this torch to turn on and off during the game, so it doesn't really matter. Now back to this. So the only value we're going to need is a public vector3, which we're going to call offset. And currently our offset is our golem at 0, yep. And our camera is at 30 and 9.4. So our offset is 0, 30, 9.4. That's where the camera currently is relative to the golem. So if we find our camera, which we already had highlighted, go to our scripts, drag on our camera movement script, no offset in the X, 30 on the Y, and 9.4 on the Z. And then all we're going to do is void update transform.position equals, oh, you know what, we are actually going to need a reference to the troll. Public transform golem, sorry, not troll, is going to equal golem.position plus offset. And then once this updates, if we drag in our golem, we should have the camera following the golem around now. There we go. So now we can move around a bit better. We can explore more of the map. You know what? Let's just give ourselves the ability to zoom, and we're going to do that by modifying, not properly zoom, but raise the height and lower the height of the camera. So we'll do that by modifying the offset.y value, which we're going to do by plus equals in it with the input dot get axis. I can never remember what this one's called. These are all case sensitive, by the way, which is why I struggle. I'm going to remember, is there a space? Is the W capitalized? We're going to find out in a minute. There we go. We can scroll up and down. So let's just modify this slightly because that was very unintuitive. First off, I want to minus rather than plus because that was scrolling back to front, or it felt back to front. And we're going to times that by, let's try 5. That's much better. Let's just put a hard limit on there because obviously if we don't tell it otherwise, then we're going to be able to just scroll through the floor like so. And obviously we don't want that. So first off, we'll just put a few public values up here. So public float, we'll just call it zoom speed. I know it's technically not a proper zoom, but we'll use it for now. And then we want public float min height, public float max height. So replace this with zoom speed. So now we can change the amount, how quickly our camera jumps up and down in the inspector. Well, then we're going to do a quick check. If offset.y is less than min height, offset.y equals min height, and then same again for the other way. Offset.y is greater than max height, offset.y equals max height. And then we need to be sure to actually set those values, otherwise our camera is going to be stuck at 0. So zoom speed will live at 5, min height, let's just do a quick test. I would say 15. We don't really want to be going any lower than 15. And then height wise, probably don't want to be going any higher than 45. So minimum 15, maximum 45. Put that back to 30 for now, and let's just give that a test run. There we are, we're locked at that. And then if we zoom down, we are locked at that. Now the last thing I want to do before we end this video is I want to change this bunny spawning, change the bunny spawning parameters a little bit, because we've got this kind of quite small area where the bunnies are, and obviously a now much larger map. So a spawn, let's see, how big is our spawn area itself? A nice and easy test if you're ever wondering how big something is you can just grab a random object and drag it around. So if right now it's at 0, or at 9, sorry. 112 or 110 or whatever, roughly speaking. So we don't want the bunnies to populate all of this, but we can go a lot bigger than 20. So let's say, let's try 50. Spawn area of 50. We'll keep the same amount of bunnies and then they won't look quite as overpopulated. It's still fairly clustered together. Let's go a bit bigger. Let's try 75, and this time we will make the amount of bunnies a little bit more. That seems alright. They're fairly clustered around the tree area, around the treeless area. And then if we let it play, we should see our creepy mice are coming towards us. And in this darkness, you can't tell that they've got a flashlight stuck to the head, which is great. Oh, right in the noggin. So, that's where I'm going to end this video. As I say, whether we or not we have another video in this series will depend on whether you guys make suggestions for it. I'm not going to try and guilt trip you. It's if the series over, it's over. That's fine. I'm having fun making it, but it needs suggestions to carry on. That is a very weird lighting bug. But yeah, it needs suggestions to carry on, and if people don't want to make suggestions, then we'll do a different video. It's like there's plenty of things we can do in Unity, so nobody should feel obligated to keep this series alive. I really should probably code these mice to wander off once they've killed it, rather than just standing there. So yeah, if you want to see the series carry on, please make suggestions. If you're not bothered, don't worry, don't make suggestions. There are plenty of other videos we can make. The Minecraft series isn't over. There's the Endless Runner series to continue. There's new series of like 5 or 6 ideas for new series that we can start. So yeah, that's it for now, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.